Yoli and Steve, thank you very much for staying here. Guys, they are my friends, my family, and they start classes with me a couple of years ago online because they want in that moment to buy a catamaran and live in the catamaran, and today they are living in the catamaran. They took all of the classes, all of the courses, diesel, gasoline, electricity, and was a great experience for you, no?
Oh yeah, especially her. She's the one that started.
Yeah. So anyways, I was an aviation mechanic. So I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I started classes online. And I tell you what, I searched a lot I had like 3 or 4 different people that I always went to try to learn, and I always kept going back to Professor Lopez, and we became really good friends. And the knowledge you're going to gain here, you're just not going to find anywhere. You can look at a bunch of YouTubes, but the way he has it set up, it just flows really good. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of good, Pacific yachting out in West Coast who's really good too. But he actually teaches. From his videos, you can be so far away and still learn a lot. So first of all, I just want to thank him for his friendship and what he does for everybody, because he really puts all this stuff, he really just puts his heart out. So I thank him for his hard work.
I love the experience with Steve and Yoli because they put the acknowledge really
into play.
In the boat, was nice. So, when each one is different. Steve is better in analysis of this. Yoli is more torque wrenches, but at the end they have a great team. It's difficult living a boat together?
Well, besides us trying to kill each other, no, I don't think so. We were both prior military, so.
Are you Steve?
No, there's no problem on the boat. We have had our struggles. Okay, so we bought the boat 2 years ago, November of 2021. It was delivered from Belize to here to Fort Lauderdale. So we were here all winter from November until the end of June of 2022.
And it's a Leopard 44 catamaran, which are amazing solid boats.
It has 2 Yanmar 39 horsepower engines.
And the first thing we did was, because I'm a mechanic, I was just like, well, I want to know the status of the diesel. So I called Avido and I said, hey, I never did the labs because I was far away. I want to do the labs. So he said, okay. He shows up the next day with an A-frame, and we pulled the damn engine out. He tells Steve to go buy a 3/4 piece of plywood, and we moved, put it right there on the back bench. And we disassembled.
I was just going to say, when you get into the book, you're going to see the video. It's our boat.
That we took it. That we took it out.
You can see them. When you do the QR code,
you guys had the camshaft leaks.
Everything.
Yeah, you guys redid all the sills, but I know that the camshaft was leaking. That was a big one. Both
So we
that's the main reason.
We pulled it out. We took it all the way down, and Avido basically gave us homework. Take the head to the cylinder shop. Take the fuel injector in this shop. You guys clean everything on it, and I'll be back in about 2 days.
When we bought it, they had just basically spray painted the engines. So you could see where there was rust.
Right. They didn't even clean
it. They didn't. They just spray painted it over, made it look pretty. But we knew there was problems. Just because of the rust. Sure.
But it was
and the oil that was there.
Yeah, but it was a solid engine. I thought in the beginning, because I'm a mechanic, it's just like, well, maybe it's the fans or the pan, because I don't know much about. I'm a jet mechanic. I don't know much about diesel until I met Alvaro, and but as soon as we took it out, the seals were like boom. And then once you get that knowledge, we went and helped the guy. Professor Lopez, we took it completely apart. So now we know our engines. And then the other engine was, all right, now it's your turn. When he came, we used the same thing. Professor Rodriguez came and we did the same thing. In the middle it was raining actually. We took that engine out. It was actually raining. We took that engine out and we did the same thing. All right, you guys got homework. Take it apart and I'll see you back in 2 days. And that's how we did both of our engines, and we learned a great deal by doing that. So it's a great experience. Once we applied, we installed an analog counter for the hour, and this way we can have our own in case we got hit by electrical lightning or whatever, and all the electrical went out, we have a backup. So everything on the boat, obviously, 1 engine, 2 engine, everything has a backup, so why not? So we did that. We also put, I was electrician for helicopters for a long time, but you know, we don't use 4-aught cables for nothing. We fly aircrafts with 22, 24 gauge wires. So
But you've already had electricity, so you know the difference in the wires.
Yeah.
So you know the difference in the wires. So when people in the marine field were talking about 4-aught, you know, 3-aught, I'm looking at them like, you put that in an aircraft, you never get off the ground.
Right.
So, you know, I had a big learning curve, but with Professor Lopez's videos and stuff like that, I just started from scratch.
So,
You know, 'cause I have the good basics. I used to teach electronics for the aircraft, but it's like asking a marine electrician to come help me fix a helicopter. You know what I mean? That's how, he's not gonna know. You know, the same thing as being a helicopter electrician and go and work on a boat.
Yeah.
You know enough to be dangerous, but it's a totally different thing. It's like wiring a house. You know, just because you're a marine electrician doesn't mean you can go and wire a house. You know what I mean? So there's a big learning curve.
So to tag on to that, our boat was a 230. It was a
Yeah.
European 230. So we had to change it to US 120, 240.
Right.
So
That was a big challenge.
Yeah.
So again,
It was-
the 2-aught cable versus a 4-aught cable. That's why because we went to a 48 volt system.
So I can use less wires.
Right.
Smaller wires.
So that was a big learning curve too, right? Because I had to figure out how to bring, like on an aircraft, you have a 28 volt battery, and once you start the AGPU, the auxiliary power unit, you can light up a city. You never worry about where your power is coming from. You
It's a
have
generator.
coffee in the middle of the field, it doesn't matter as long as the aircrafts are running, you know? So it was a big learning curve because you have to figure out what you want. And Professor Lopez kept saying, what do you want? You want 110 or you want 240? You want 110 or 240? I was like, oh, fuck, I don't even know. I've never worked with 230. You know what I mean? But we had air conditioners on the boat and we have a water maker on the boat. Basically brand new, they work great. So we didn't want to like replace the $40,000 pieces of equipment, you know, all together. So finally I decided, I woke up one day, I said, okay, I'm gonna do 240. And so I called, you know, Professor Lopez, said, I think I'm gonna do 240. He goes, okay, well, tell me how that works. So I went back to the books.
So by her designing the system, it has spurred or spawned into a new course. That whole system over there is what's on our boat.
Cool. Exactly.
Again.
Yeah. So we started
actually,
that.
we got more than that because we have 2 inverters, each one a 120. And put the 2 120s together, make the 240.
240, but it's pretty similar.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But once I figured out what I wanted and I designed it, then I had Professor Lopez tell me, yeah, that's going to work, or no, that's not going to work. You know, where I can fine tune it. So we bought everything, and then we just took it over to Mr. Lopez's house, and we did basically the same thing.
We did the same in my house.
They did the same thing on the fly. It was like we were just
we
taking
just
shit
started
out of the
screwing stuff
box.
and we just
started taking shit out of the box and just trying to put shit together, just trying to figure out the equipment. Victron, there's a lot of Victron information.
Yeah, it's
The more-
expensive, but it's nice.
It's super expensive, but I tell you what, once it gets going, it runs like a champ. It just never breaks unless you break it.
So really
I
the
broke
bo-
an MPPT.
So really the bottom line is we have applied just about everything that we've learned, you know, what, 13 courses?
Yeah.
11? 12? Whatever it is.
13.
Whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Something from every one of those courses.
He applied in his boat everything because he replaced toilets, sanitation, plumbing.
That was the first thing we did. We walked on, it smelled. So all the...
And you guys did bonding and stuff.
They
so everybody
repair
agreed
the
to that.
windlass. They installed a new
bonding. We
windlass.
had to do bonding
Yeah,
because
you
there was
guys
no
had to do it.
bonding on it.
That's why you're.
Yeah, European boats don't
Engines.
come in with
Exactly.
bonding.
No
so
bonding. They create the bonding.
Right.
And what I think was a great experience.
Yeah.
It's a great experience because they are working. Susan, come on.
Yeah, and actually, I haven't even started with my AC. Like I have it all.
AC
all-
meaning
all-
alternating current.
or alternating current. Like we've only been operating with our DC, so we can live pretty much all the time with just solar. We've never had to turn on the generator. The generator is brand new. Haven't turned it on in a year, but we're going to start now. We're because the generator sits 8 feet off the water line, we have to have
A middle
An auxiliary
transfer
pump. Auxiliary pump to pump the water and
right. So we need a pump for the fuel because the fuel goes
Fuel
from
goes.
from the rear of where the engine is, there's a water separator there, fuel separator there, and that has to move 30 feet to the front where the generator sits.
Pumps are
It's a lot
So-
of distance.
So it's a big distance. And then the water through haul is about probably 15 feet from the actual generator. So right now we just finished replacing the impeller for that pump. We saw it was fragmented, so we're going to take out the hose, run it, make sure the lines are clear, and I'm going to put a one-way valve, check valve, close to the generator, so I know that water is always going to be there.
But again, it's all these little things. You know, the impeller. You know, you did that in the gasoline.
In gasoline.
In gasoline.
So you know, all these courses bleed over. You know,
Yeah.
that's why his courses are set up. The electric, intro first, then the electrical, then advanced electronics. 'Cause
The outboard,
Can
they
I-
work with the outboard.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, we have our dinghy, which is our car. So like we just got stuck in North Carolina. We just got stuck in North Carolina because it wasn't starting, and so I just ran through basic knowledge. Check the air, check the fuel. And then it was the carburetor was stuck and closed. So I just took a pair of pliers, opened it up, like, all right, we're good. Let's go. We'll go to shore, and now we're just using that until we just ordered a.
But they
we just ordered a
repair
new one.
in the Danny shop the other dinghy. They
Yeah, the
changed
motor.
Right.
the motor. No?
Yeah, well, I have a small little 16-foot Glastron that I brought from Virginia to Professor Rodriguez's shop, and we put a new engine in it, put a hydraulic steering in it, and all that good stuff. So we used that
Newer
knowledge
used
from,
engine.
huh?
A newer used engine.
A
Yeah,
newer
newer used engine because we blew a piston on the old one, but it's like a 1980 something, and it had the original 150 Evinrude, and I just ran that shit to hell. So we got another one. So the knowledge is like, I mean, you just can't. And we help people all the time. Like literally, like people. We were at the on the dry, and somebody couldn't get the engine. I was like, well, I don't know if I can help you, but I'll try. And so I go through all the processing.
Troubleshooting.
I go through all the troubleshooting first until I get to the point where I'll call Mr. Lopez to get like the next step, because the first thing he's gonna do is, did you check corrosion? Did you check connections? Did you check this? So I do all that. And so with the owner, I was doing all that, and he goes, when are we gonna call him? I said, when we get everything done and we still can't get it turned on, then we'll call him. Then he's the lifeline.
He's a lifeline.
So we spent like 2 hours troubleshooting. We finally got it turned on, and then we called Professor Lopez just to verify that what we did was the right thing. You know what I mean? And just to get that, yeah, you did a good job.
Yeah,
All right,
make
go have
sure
a
it wasn't
beer.
Hialeah.
So Hialeah.
So we're not Hialeah mechanics. We just say we're Professor Lopez and Professor Rodriguez mechanics. Not Hialeah mechanics. So
nice.
the knowledge is extremely valuable, and we live on the boat, so it's really valuable for us because like we were heading to Virginia this coming up, or where were we? Where we had to change the
we
fuel
went
line.
from West Palm Beach up to Fort
Fort
Pierce.
Pierce. It's a 12-hour. So on our way down, we had an electrical issue, and I got that fixed. It was a relay. We were out on the water, and I just started
for one of the engines.
for one of the engines. Well, that same engine turned off in the middle of the ocean on us,
It start, run for about 5 seconds,
and then
die.
it turned on. So we called,
Start. So what would it be?
yeah,
Could be fuel.
the fuel. So I called, but we were like, it was pretty, it was kind of
We were
stressful out
underway,
there.
and it was
It was-
not smooth sailing.
Yeah, it was
rough
really
seas
stressful.
and-
So I called. He goes, check your fuel. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, check fuel. So, because I had checked everything else except, so we started checking fuels, and it ended up being a small little leak,
Pinhole
like
in a
little
hose.
pinhole leak, in one of
Air.
the hose. So we cut all the ends of the hoses, and but we always carry a lot of spares. So we have a lot of fuel lines. We have a lot of water. Like we literally, when we got to the boat, we cut a little piece of every hose on the boat, and then we just went out and bought 10 feet of every hose on the boat. So we can, I think going down last year, we had a
And
coolant,
it's going up. It was like,
the coolant line busted, and we opened up the engine. It's just like coolant all over the place, because we normally run one engine 12 hours. We turn it off, and then we run the other engine 12 hours. And then while this one, when it cools, we service it and we check it. So we're constantly running. If we're going head, we can't sail. We motor sail a lot out in the ocean, so we're running one and sailing, and then run the other, and just getting, double distance for the fuel. And it took us like 5 or 6 days.
Five straight days.
About 3/4 of it, a little bit less, a little bit more than
It's-
a little bit less than 3/4 of it.
Excellent fuel consumption.
Yeah, it's diesel.
So we have two 90-gallon tanks, one for each engine, and from West Palm Beach all the way up to Yorktown, Virginia, 5 days straight, 5 full days. We burned 55 gallons in each one.
That's pretty good.
This is great, huh?
So if I,
Yeah, it was on
I've done I've kept the log and all that. It's between 0.4 and 0.5 gallons per
that's
hour.
really
Yeah,
good.
it's 0.5.
It's really good.
Look, the first sentence.
so right there,
So my calculations are right. Between 0.4 and 0.5.
that's exactly what it comes out to.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I know.
So we've actually weighed down our boat because we live on it. So we changed because of we have 4 48-volt batteries.
He's got 2 of them sitting over there.
He's got 2. We have 4. But in that 4, we have 19.2 kilowatt hours. You know, and that's why that's why we have a brand new generator we've never run. Because we have a lot of solar and
We got like 2,400 watts of solar.
lots of solar. So we have a lot of solar and we have a lot of battery consumption. One thing that we learned very early on that the 48 and the winches, like your windlass, your davits, you know, like an
electric
ATV,
winch.
like an ATV winch, you know, the same thing. They're all the same motors. They draw so much amp that it's very hard. That the industry hasn't caught up yet to the 48 volt, but that's where the future's going, and that's why I decided to go 48. First of all, because it was a small little footprint, and because that's where the industry's going, and I think Victron's going to be around for a very, very long time, and the 48 is where everybody's going to. It's just a matter of, you know, the EVs are 48, so it's just a matter of the industry catching up. Yeah.
You're saying the amps or hasn't caught up is because they're not 48 volt compatible, or they have to step it down? Or
We have to step it down. We have to step it down.
Our boat is a 12-volt boat,
Gotcha.
and if you,
We have a DC to DC converter.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, he's got one DC to DC converter. If you look at it, it says 48
To
slash 12,
To 30.
then 30. So it's 48 volts down to 12 volts, 30 amps.
It has 30 amps.
So
Well,
we did one, and that 30 amps wasn't enough to run our electric winch to put our sails on, or put our davits down, put our dinghy down.
Correct.
Because like she was saying, those motors, those 12-volt motors, are 80 amp motors.
Yeah.
It'll take close to
and they,
So we had to figure out how to get 80 amps to those 2 motors.
yeah, and everything for me that I've been on paper works, right? But then you go and I install it, and like that, like, oh shit, that's right, that's not gonna work. So then I say, well, fuck it, let's just get 2 more.
Yeah.
Let's just get 2 more. I have 90 amps, right? So I can run
Put 'em
my,
in series.
so I can put it in,
Put 'em
you
in
know,
parallel.
yeah, it's
Parallel.
parallel. So I can get
I
my,
get,
yeah.
I get
Yeah, so I get it parallel so I can have my 90, and then that worked. You know what I mean? So, is it what everybody's doing? I don't know. But on paper, it's the only thing,
Well-
because I come from an electrical background, is what I know. It's like, okay,
And-
well, now how do I solve this problem?
In fact, I don't know if you've heard of Just Cats. They're over in Dania Beach. They just catamarans, just cats.
Just catamarans.
They do modifications for
So
catamarans.
we met the guy, sort of like the head
Maintenance
Victron
guy.
guy, electrical Victron guy, up at the boat show in Annapolis. And she told him, hey, we put 3 of them in parallel. He goes, I don't know if you can do that. Then he got on the phone and called Victron. And he goes,
I
oh,
said, well, it
yeah,
works.
yeah, and you can do that. So,
You can
but
do
again,
that.
we did it by trial and error.
Right.
You know,
So a
it
lot
made
of it-
sense.
Right. So once you get this class, a lot of stuff will start making sense, and then it's just a matter of you like, okay, well, let me see if this is going to work, you know, and then you just try it. You know what I mean? So we went with 48, less wire price.
And weight.
And weight. We ran a lot of wire. We ran most of all the wires.
All new wires.
All new
from,
wires for our
from the
system.
From our 48-volt system to the panel,
Yeah.
to the distribution.
Because the batteries on these catamarans, most of the time the batteries are more in the back, and we basically took the water maker out, put it in one of the showers, and we put the batteries underneath one of the beds
To balance.
to kind of balance, because we have a
Our boat's like this now.
not really.
Not that bad.
Not
But
that bad.
it is more heavier in the front.
It's a little bit more heavy in the front, but we went from a 9K generator to a 6. The guys at Masery and St. Pete are amazing. We bought the automatic brand new control monitor and control panel for the generator. We have a Kohler motor, and it's a Paguro.
Panguda.
No, it's Paguro.
Panguda.
Paguro.
Paguro.
Okay.
Paguro, but it
But
has
it's
a
a Kohler
Kohler.
engine.
It's a
It's
Kohler.
a Kohler.
engine.
It's a Kohler engine,
Yeah.
and they've been amazing. They gave us a great discount, brand new. As long as we went to pick it up. I just came from their facility because I want to program the control head to run the 2 pumps that I need to get the water and the fuel to the generator before it turns on. So I want to delay. And the guy was Doug and Tom. They're amazing over there. So if you ever work with Massery,
You'll find out. You've probably heard of E-Marines. You probably and what's Mabru. You know, there's
Oh, yeah.
companies out there that are specialized in certain things.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they just happen to, and they're Yanmar. That's how we first ran into Massery. Was our sail drives.
came from there.
One of our sail drives, it was slipping. It
Yeah.
wouldn't engage into forward and reverse.
When you engage, slipping. Now the
In fact,
unit is here.
yeah, the unit here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have donated, our old generator we gave to him.
Yeah.
We pulled
The
it out.
generator is here, and the windlass is here.
Yeah, and the windlass, because we had, when we bought the boat, the Gypsy casing for the motor was good for the windlass, but the casing wasn't.
Corroded.
And the price point was like $300 difference.
Between buying just the top or the whole unit.
Or the whole unit, so you end up buying a whole unit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But
So,
in
okay.
general, I saw that they have today a completely different. It's a critical thinking when they have a problem in the boat. They are good troubleshooters right now. They live in the boat. They need solve it. But you analyze the problem today completely different than 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
well, I have a basic troubleshooting procedure in my head, you know what I mean? So, but you really need to learn the systems.
Yeah.
Like you really need to, if you know how diesel works, then you can really know, okay, I got, because everything's the same, and Mr. Lopez and Professor Rodriguez tell you, air, fuel, it's the
It's
same
exactly
thing.
the same.
Spark, air,
And I think
fuel.
you've
Spark,
probably
air, fuel.
heard, I think
You
he's
know.
probably said 80% of the problems are electrical.
Electricals or more.
Yeah.
So-
So far, every time we run into something kind of major, it's either been one of those, it's the same thing, troubleshooting procedures once you get. Any questions?
No, and
Okay.
I want that a lot of young people here. The marine industry is huge.
Oh, huge.
A lot of opportunities.
We just went to the Victron course. We found a course, the only one this year in the U.S., and we went to it. We all 3 of us went to it, and there was a lady there. All she does 6 months out of the year is just install Garmin and Raymarine. That's it. So she does her money like that. Like that's one thing. And she's just good at one thing, and that's all she does.
Specific in that.
And
Specific.
That's what I've said to people. I'm thinking, but as you're going through these courses, someone's going to, tickle your fancy. There's going to be something, whether it's air conditioning, whether it's diesel, whether it's composites. When you get to composites, the fiberglass stuff.
Yeah.
Every one of those, doesn't matter which one, they're making $125 an hour.
Yeah.
And in Virginia, it is so backed up.
But it's good to have all the knowledge, sort of like we do. We've expanded, and I've done fiberglass on the boat. But when you get out in the field, if you can specialize in one, and then go off from there. But you can really specialize in one, show your worth.
And then expand from there. There's a lot of work out there. It's crazy.
Fort Lauderdale,
It's
just
crazy.
passed.
In Virginia, people are waiting 3-4 months to get any kind of work done on a diesel. And then when you find a guy that works on a diesel, he's like 65, 70-year-old, and he's like, hey, I'm not taking it because I don't work during the winter.
Yeah.
It's too cold, I don't go outside during the winter. I mean, so people really wait like a long time to get work done
No, people-
on a boat.
That's one of the reasons we took this, so that we do our own work.
Yeah, to do our own work, because the work log out there is just all up and down the coast. Like, we've met people in North Carolina are anchored waiting for dry slip to get out to get work done. I mean, anywhere up the coast that we've gone, it's the same story every time. We've met young guys that are in their mid-20s. One of them just having a baby now. All he does is he's a captain. He takes people out for sunset cruises during the summer, and on the winter he goes to the Highlands, and that's what they do. You know, and they're like, one of them was 27, the other one was like 29.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work in this industry, and it's a great field too. I mean, if you love being on the water, I don't think you can get any better than this.
Yeah, I love it. Your patience, your time here. Thank you.
Oh, no,
Thank you
no
very
worries.
much.
Is there anything, any questions or anything?
No question for
Easier living in a boat than it is in a house.
I think so. I mean,
Easier?
I don't know if it's
More affordable.
affordable,
No.
without a doubt. I think so. Well, once you get the boat going, it's affordable. You know what I mean? But we pay a mortgage less, but we paid a lot to be off grid. But once that expenses, you know, I
It's
throw an
just like in a
anchor.
house. It costs a lot to get a solar system in a house up front, but you save over time. You know, you make that money back over time.
And there is
The
some
same thing
inconvenience, right? Like, you know, to
Well,
get
that's-
on
that's
to
the
get
biggest
on
thing.
shore, you know, I can't just jump in my car and go to the grocery store. I gotta get in the dinghy, get it out to shore, anchor it, secure it. You know what I mean?
Make sure it doesn't
you
get
know,
stolen.
then walk somewhere, you know, to
Get
get
it?
an Uber or just go walk. So it really, for us, I love it because I'm busy all day long. You know, there's always planning to do. There's always weather to do. There's always, you know, so it keeps you, you know, thinking all the time. You know, you can't get complacent because the weather's changing. You gotta, you know, figure out where you're going, where the tides are doing, if the anchor's gonna reset, you know, so you're always alert, you know, you got an anchor alarm, you know what I mean? So you basically are not complacent, you know, like we don't have time for TV, you know, because we're always doing something, you know, we're putzing around all the time, you know, we clean,
Yeah.
you know, it's always something to clean and stuff like that, so,
Are you guys both retired?
oh yeah,
From-
retired military. I
Retired.
did 22, he did 25.
yeah, both of them.
And we saved a lot. We spent 10 years saving, and we sold our 2 houses and bought a bunch of gold when this administration took over, and bought a boat. And just,
But we still got a mortgage, even though we sold 2 houses.
yeah, because we wanted to keep our money, so we just, you know, we put the boat on our trust, and then we die, the kids could just sell it. I don't care what they do with it.
How far have you guys gone?
You know, we just
So far, just from here to Virginia back, and
Yeah.
some cruising around Chesapeake.
And you said you
Yeah.
guys don't have sailing knowledge yet? Or you
So
do?
I've been sailing since 2005. I was a Malgris and a J racer, and I still do that when I go back home. So, yeah, it took me 20 years to convince my husband to get on a boat. So he's on a boat with 2 feet now. So he has no way out, no way out. But he's really loving life. It's better than just sitting at home when you get older. You know what I mean?
So to your point, you know, in your house, you still, you know, tinker around, you know, whether you're doing flooring or, you know, there's, you know, your plumbing goes bad, and, you know, if you're not calling somebody, you're doing it yourself. So same type of thing, you know, if something goes bad, we fix it. And so,
Question about the courses from here. Which one do you find yourself most heavily referencing over and over
The
again?
electrical.
The electrical courses.
100% the electrical. Now, and I got a really strong background in electrical. I taught aviation electronics for helicopters, you know, the Apaches, the Blackhawks, the Chinooks, you know, all that. So I got a really strong background in electronics, so I know how to troubleshoot it. But, you know, the systems, you know, the electrical, what makes a diesel electrical work, or what makes an outboard electrical work, what makes the Victron, it's all electrical, but you really have to know how Victron works, you know, and how that electricity works within Victron's programming, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but your bases, 100%, electrical is by far
most important.
the most
because the
important.
diesel, once you get your diesels run forever, you know, you like you've heard, you know, we've had a problem with hoses. That's really the only thing we've had a problem with.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and once we changed the seals, I mean, we even helped Chris if he comes back. He went,
Other student that the same process.
we had the same thing. He had a catamaran,
44.
Leopard 39. He had a Leopard 39, and he took this course because he used to work for the cruising industry. And him and his wife had been saving also for like 10 years. And they had the boat, they were going back and forth to the islands, but he was still on a slip. But he wanted to go to Cartagena with his wife, and they wanted to stop working. So he took this course so they can leave.
and he rebuilt the engines on his boat. We helped him.
And we helped him with his boat. He had owned the boat for 6 years, but he had never really done anything to it because the diesels run forever. So
But
he had a
he
leak.
wanted to start over, make sure it's like, ground zero when he took off, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
so
helped him pull it out. and-
Yeah.
well,
So we didn't even pull it out. We
Yeah,
just we used
his was a little bit different.
we used a black on taco. We just moved it, and we couldn't get the plate, the harmonic plate off. And we were hitting it, and I called Alvaro, and he goes, "Hit it like a man." And I'm like, okay. So we just started banging on it, and it just popped open, and so we were able to change the seals. So you really got to be tough with some of this stuff, But diesel's really, like, he had that diesel for 10 years, and he never did anything to it. It runs forever. So
But he's the same, he was in the same boat. He put solar on, he put, Victron system.
Yeah, they did the same.
they did the same thing. And then he took off. He's in Cartagena now.
Well, no,
he
he
went to
didn't.
Cartagena. He went to.
Now he's in
Grenada.
Venezuela.
No, he's in Grenada,
Grenada.
and he
Who's that?
said, "I found my."
Chris, Chris.
Yeah, he says, "I found my home. I'm not leaving." So he's now, just bouncing around in that
But
area
he took the courses, so he has the knowledge.
to help
to-
others too.
Yeah, and that's the thing, to help other, fix your own boat. But we can make money on the side, if nothing else, you barter. Yeah, hey, I'll fix that for, a case of beer, for a gallon of water, because a gallon of water down there in the, Bahamas is
Yeah.
ridiculous, more than gas.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, the knowledge you have, you can also use for barter, and it's nice because the boating community, as you know, they're really close because you're out on the water, so they become your family, your neighbors and stuff like that. So you can always help. You know what I
There
mean?
was this guy, right where we're anchored, he had a problem with his outboard.
Oh,
Yeah, so the first I told him when he says, "Well, did you check the fuel?" "Oh yeah, I replaced the carburetor. I fixed it, cleaned the carburetor." I'm like, I would do everything in the fuel, not just the carburetor. So he started from beginning to end, and he texts me, goes, "It worked. It's working now." You know what I mean? So he's got his dinghy up and running. So yeah, it's just good to be able to help others with the knowledge that you have and just pass it forward.
And makes money along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe make
That's
some
what
money out.
that's what they're here for, is
Yeah.
to have a career.
Chris said that each time that they arrive to a new marina, they make a little money because they solved problems
Yeah.
in the neighbor boats.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, I got a bottle of rum out of it.
That's true.
So-
Thank you guys. Thank you
Yeah,
for coming.
no
I
worries.
appreciate. And,
Yeah,
I
good luck
hope
in the
this
course.
experience was good for
Yeah,
you.
good luck at the course. I tell you what, the videos are amazing, and remember, there's a Colombian trying to write an English book, but he gets the point across.
Yeah,
If you want.
you'll see English grammar errors in
But
Yeah.
but if you
No,
can
no.
overlook anything like that,
I've edited, because that's what I used.
He's my editor right now.
I was,
if we get time.
after I got out, I actually wrote manuals for the military. So I have been editing his books. I
When
think
we
I've
can.
done 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
when
I
we
can.
can.
But Steve, don't forget that I promised them that at the end of the program they learn Spanish.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the most
you-
important part.
You learn
Es muy
Spanish.
importante.
Listen, show of hands. Did Amber look cute with that little dog?
Guys.
Anyways,
Where's he at?
I
Yeah,
appreciate
good
you,
luck.
and good
Good
luck,
luck.
and I hope you guys really get
Yeah,
a lot out of
stick-
this.
stick
Stick
with
to
it.
it and get a lot out of it. It's really I mean, you can't get into professors any better than these guys.
In particular, in this class in diesel, this is a nice project. We are going to repair an engine, and this is a great experience. I hope you enjoyed this class.
Is this your first? You've already done the intro?
Yeah,
Is
this is a
this,
diesel.
we
We're
did
doing diesel.
diesel 1 and diesel 2.
Electronics.
oh,
In
okay.
this moment,
And
diesel.
they did the advanced
No,
electricity.
they
or-
did the
yeah,
electrical
yeah.
class.
Oh, okay. So you guys are almost a year out.
No, about halfway.
6 months ago.
Oh, okay, about 6 months. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, not even halfway, yeah.
And you got,
Only
and
got
this
some
right here,
4.
this Victron system that you got, that he has,
He hasn't
um,
made that course yet.
that he's
It's a
making
new
this
course.
course, that is money.
Yeah.
Money. So when I was putting my 2 inverters together, doing a split phase, which I'd never done before, I hit the books, did a lot of work. I figured I'd call the Victron guy and pay him $100 for an hour, basically, to just babysit me while I'm going through the system, right? And I already had all my answers, so I already knew pretty much what I wanted to do. And in the initially conversation, as soon as I started, he tells me, I'm gonna, I'm telling him, I'm gonna do 180 phase, I'm clicking 180. He goes, oh no, wait, what are the options? I said 180, 120, and I forget what the other one is.
240.
240. And I said, I'm doing 180. He goes, no, I think it's 120. I'm like, No.
AC.
I said AC, an oscilloscope, it's 180. You know, it's
180 out.
180 out on each side, and that's what I'm doing. One inverter's gonna do one whole leg, and the other inverter do the other. And he says, "Yeah, I got to think about that." Okay, there's a Victron guy. Okay, and this is what I've learned about Victron guys. Extremely intelligent in their software. I was the same way on an
their
aircraft.
equipment. On their
On an
equipment.
aircraft, I could tell you without even going into a schematic exactly what's wrong with the system because I know I've worked so much with the system. I know them. You know what I'm saying? But he's not an electrician. He's a Victron guy. And the Victron guys, a lot of them you'll know, they know one way to do things. This is the way we do it, and these are the boats I do it on. You might work on 32-foot boats and
I
under.
work on 80-foot boats.
You know, but not work on mega boats. And then you get the guys that work on mega boats, but not the 30-foot boats. You know what I'm saying? So they learn specific knowledge on their systems, whether it's be a mega or a smaller yacht. And that's what they know. They don't necessarily know AC and DC. What they know is the program and how to program it one way, install it, program it, and that's all I know.
That's it.
And anything outside of that, they don't know because they do it so often, but they do it in a sequential way.
Correct.
That fixes it. So the knowledge you get here in AC and DC is valuable if you understand the big picture. So if you don't, so I think it's what's besides Victron, you have Master Volt, you have
Master Ball, Eccentrics,
I think Reliant does have.
Reliance.
Reliance. So
Yeah.
each one of them have a different kind of program. But if you know AC and DC, you'll be able to go, okay, no, this should be the answer.
Yeah.
So as you're going through these Victrons, I would learn why you're saying yes, why you're picking a certain parameter for the certain batteries. You know why you're doing it. And that's the great thing about their class. They're teaching you why you're picking those answers,
Yeah.
why you're troubleshooting it this way. If you can learn the whys, then when you get out there in the field, they can hit you with anything. It doesn't matter whether you're working with a Victron or a Master Volt. You'll know what to do.
Or it's exactly the same with the diesel. Diesel engines are diesel engine. Doesn't matter if it's Volvo or Cummins. It's exactly the same fuel injection pump, the same, exactly the same. No different. No different. No.
Yeah, the diesel engine on our generator, same thing.
It's the same. It's not different. Okay. This is why with the Danny we emphasize in class. We want that at the end of this you understand the engine. No, because my engine is Mercury. No, my friend, it's exactly the same. The diagnosis is the same. And this is our idea, no, Danny?
Same, yep.
I have
We're all the same.
one last question.
Yeah, go.
On your day-to-day, when you're interacting with other people, how much do you see a prevalence in solar power generally? Like, what's the general consensus? Do most people want to start getting solar power systems?
Oh yeah,
one way or another?
most boats out there have solar.
They
100%.
want to be off grid. They don't
Yeah.
want to sit in the marina,
Yeah.
plugged in.
All of them.
No,
Yeah.
nobody wants to
I
be
mean, I
plugged
put all
in.
this money into it. I just throw an anchor somewhere, and I don't have to pay nobody.
Correct.
If I go to a slip, when we first got the boat, we were on a slip because we're doing the generator. I mean, we're doing the engines and everything. It was $1,200 a month in Fort Lauderdale. So it took all that money, and I just said, well, I'm not doing that again. Took all that money, and now I just throw an anchor somewhere. And as long as I can get to shore on my dinghy and back, I don't have to worry about it, man.
In this
Like-
moment, in Fort Lauderdale, it's impossible to find a place where you can connect a catamaran. In this moment, it's
Yeah.
full.
And to live on it, it's even harder.
Yeah, to live on a boat on a slip is costly and it's hard
It's hard.
to find because during the Trump administration, like people went out and bought during COVID, people just bought boats galore. I mean, there's so many boats that my cousin's family works in selling boats and jet skis and stuff. They ran out of jet skis in the state of Florida. They had to go to Ohio and Indiana to buy jet skis to bring them into Florida.
really?
That's how many boats. I mean, you were waiting weeks
Well, your
for
bro-
an engine.
Your brother was yeah.
He waited 3 months for one engine.
One
he had
engine.
2 engines he wanted 2 engines. He had one. He waited 3 more months for the other one because there's just not enough. So now you get all those people, and the marinas ain't expanding. They're the same marinas. Had the same capacity. Now you're doubling the capacity. So now people want even more solar because if you want to live on it, you have to figure out a way, and solar is the answer. By far, it's the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah.
over wind. You know, even though people do have some wind, people will tell you the money. I mean, a solar panel is $200.
A
You
good
know?
solar panel.
A good bifacial panel, you know, the
Right.
same one I bought
Yeah.
for $270.
Yeah,
It's selling now.
$280, yeah.
It's selling for $210, and it's bifacial. You know, and it was 270 watts each solar panel, and it's bifacial, so you're getting at least 30%.
370.
Oh yeah, 370, and you're getting 30 extra percent because it's bifacial. And you can do that on a boat because if you just put the solar panel up a little bit, all that reflection from the water, you're gonna get that. So, you know, it's important. Yeah,
This is the topic of the moment.
Yes.
How much do you guys cover solar wise? Like how many feet? Do you know? Square feet?
Oh,
Square feet?
Yeah.
oh yeah. We got 6 solar panels
six.
on our boat.
6 hard.
They have
Yeah,
the
no,
real,
I know.
they have the
That's
real
most
estate
difficult
for it,
part
too.
is
We have
No, they're hard. They're hard.
no,
panels.
we have rigid panels. We have
Rigid
6
panels.
rigid panels, and they
so
go
it's
25 feet,
no, it's not quite 20. It's probably 20 by 5.
Okay.
20 by 5. We have 6 we have 6 solar panels on the back
100?
of our boat. It was an overkill.
Almost 2,400.
It was an
It kind
overkill.
of needs to be. Kind of do
Well,
need to
when you got 19.2 kilowatts of battery bank,
You
Yes.
need to have, the voltage has to be almost twice the amount of your battery capacity. So in order for those solar panels to actually
The
start,
voltage.
the voltage, in
voltage.
order for those solar panels to actually start generating power to charge your
To
batteries,
recharge the batteries.
has to be twice the amount. So
in,
we,
in voltage.
right now we don't really
Right.
have twice the amount.
right.
But
Well, yeah,
again,
we get twice.
we are running straight DC. Everything on our boat's DC, other than the water maker and AC.
And we haven't needed it. 'Cause
And you know, so at night, no solar. Our batteries go from 100%
Like
down
98.
to like 96, 97. By 10 o'clock in the morning, back up to 100.
Yeah, that's great.
And the reason it was an overkill, because when I was learning this system, I was talking to some people in Nevada where do homes, and in Texas they do homes. So as I'm trying to learn, I called, you know, it'd be like talking to Alvaro, get a bunch of knowledge, and then I call you up and I say, I think I'm smart, so now I call you to try to pick your brains. I realize how dumb I am, so I go back to the books and then call him, thinking I learned a lot from him to try to get more knowledge off of him from the knowledge I gained from him. So I was doing that for like 3 months. And at the end, once I figured out what I wanted, I tell the guy, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. And he tells me, well, you need 10 solar panels. And I'm like, 10 solar panels? I'm on a boat. You know, and he thought I was on a house, right? So I'm like, so how do I mitigate that? Because, you know, how do I get that? So I went with
How do I get as
6.
much as we can?
So I
With
went
the
with
real
6
estate we have.
bifacial because of my real estate. And I don't want any solar panels on the roof because I have a lot of kids that we do big parties sometimes with a lot of kids, and they love running from the top. And I didn't want
And jumping.
and jumping in the water. So I didn't want to, you know, create any hazards on top. And plus I'm on there too with the boom and working. So we actually did a solar rack. And all our rigid panels are on a solar rack, except the original
For, I think
4
there's
little
70
70s.
watt panels.
Then we're
Yeah.
gonna end up changing those and just to, because we have 2 12-volt batteries for our windlass and our generator start in the front. And we're gonna have those, we're gonna change those to trickle charge those when
Those
it's
batteries.
needed.
Yeah.
You know, just to keep them healthy. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
This is a great experience. Thank you.
Yeah. no
Thank you
worries.
very much. Thank
Good
you
luck
guys.
on the class. You guys are in great hands.
Oh, Happy New Year to all you guys.
Is this
Guys,
our first day back? I guess
Yeah,
it would
first
be.
day,
Yeah, I guess it would be.
One
Yeah.
second, I